Life has a way of testing us when we least expect it. You may be in one of those seasons right now where the weight on your shoulders feels heavier than ever. The bills are stacking up, your phone rings with news that shakes your heart, and every plan you made seems to be falling apart. You try to stay strong, but when the night comes and the world grows quiet, the thoughts become louder. You ask yourself, how much longer can I carry this? Is there really a way out? Does God truly see what I am facing? This is where we begin, right here, in the middle of the storm. Not at the finish line, not when everything is resolved, but at the exact moment where your faith feels most fragile. What you are about to hear is not just another motivational speech. This is a reminder of something deeper, something eternal, something that has held men and women steady through wars, losses, betrayals, and heartbreaks. The truth is that you can trust God, even here, even now. Trusting God is not about closing your eyes to reality. It is not a blind leap into the unknown. It is the decision to anchor your heart to the only unshakable foundation when everything else around you feels unstable. Trust is not passive. It is active. It is the choice to keep standing, to keep believing, to keep moving, even when you cannot see more than the next step in front of you. You may feel that you have been forgotten. You have prayed prayers that seem to receive no answer. You have waited longer than you ever thought you could wait. The temptation to give up is real, but here is the good news. Your story is not over, and this chapter of struggle is not where it ends. God has not abandoned you, not for a single second. His silence is not his absence. His delay is not his denial. Think about it. Every challenge you have faced up until now has brought you to this moment. You are still here. You are still breathing. You are still searching for truth, still reaching for something greater than yourself. That hunger is proof that hope is alive inside you, even if it feels small. And hope, even in its smallest form, is powerful enough to pull you forward. Over the next few minutes, you will hear words designed to lift your spirit, to calm your thoughts, and to remind you that you are not walking this road alone. The very fact that you are listening now is not by chance. Something led you here. A gentle nudge from the one who knows exactly what you need to hear today. This moment is an invitation to stop running from fear and start standing on faith. This is not about pretending that everything is easy. It is about seeing with new eyes. The storm may not pass immediately, but you will discover a strength within you that can only come from trusting the one who holds tomorrow. This message is a bridge from despair to courage, from fear to faith, from anxiety to peace. Stay with me until the end, because what you are about to experience has the power to change the way you see your situation. The words you will hear are not empty. They carry the weight of promises that have stood the test of time. They have sustained kings and shepherds, warriors and widows, prophets and ordinary people just like you. You do not have to fight this battle alone. You do not have to figure out every detail of the future before you take your next step. You can trust the one who already sees the end from the beginning. Let this moment be the turning point where you decide that fear no longer gets the final word. When difficulties strike, the first instinct is often to panic. Our minds start racing, imagining worst-case scenarios, calculating every possible outcome, searching for ways to control what we cannot control. The human mind craves certainty, but life rarely provides it. This is where fear gains its power. Fear thrives in the unknown, whispering lies that tell you the situation is hopeless and that you are powerless to change it. But what if this very moment of uncertainty is where you discover a different kind of strength? Fear has a way of making the storm look bigger than it is. It magnifies every detail, turning problems into mountains and obstacles into impossible walls. But trusting God, flips the perspective. When you place your situation into his hands, you shift from staring at the size of the storm to focusing on the size of the one who commands the winds and the waves. Suddenly the storm does not disappear, but it loses its power to paralyze you. Consider how you have handled past challenges. Perhaps you tried to solve them all by yourself, carrying the full weight on your shoulders. Perhaps you stayed up late at night, replaying conversations, running through numbers, strategizing and worrying until exhaustion consumed you. Yet, many of those problems eventually resolved in ways you did not expect, and some even turned out better than you imagined. This is evidence that not everything depends on your strength. Trusting God is an invitation to stop living in survival mode. It is a call to step out of the constant mental battle and rest in the assurance that there is someone bigger working behind the scenes. This is not an excuse to stop acting. It is the courage to act without fear controlling you. It is the freedom to take one step forward even when you do not see the entire path. When you start to trust, the weight begins to lift. The pressure that once pressed on your chest starts to loosen. The noise in your mind grows quieter and clarity begins to form. You begin to see that your situation, no matter how hard, can be a place where you grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Pain becomes the ground where perseverance is planted, and perseverance grows into unshakable faith. But here is the challenge. Trust is not built in comfort. Trust is forged in fire. It is when life does not go according to plan that you are faced with the choice to hold on or to let go. And letting go is not giving up. It is releasing your grip on fear so that you can grab hold of faith. Ask yourself this: what would happen if, right now, you decided to stop fighting against what you cannot change and started trusting that God is weaving something good, even out of this chaos? How would your heart feel if you believed, even for a moment, that this season is not meant to destroy you, but to prepare you for something greater? This is where real transformation begins. Fear starts to lose its grip when faith takes center stage. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming a participant in your own victory. The storm may still rage, but inside you, a different kind of calm begins to grow. The kind of peace that does not make sense to the world, but is very real to those who have experienced it. The weight you feel is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a testimony, and every testimony starts with a test. Right now, you are in the test, but soon you will see how it turns into triumph. Stay here with me. There is more to uncover, more strength to draw from, and more peace waiting to meet you. One of the hardest things for a human heart to do is to let go. We are wired to want answers, to want control, to feel secure knowing how everything will unfold. But life rarely gives us that luxury. The truth is, much of what you are facing right now is outside of your control, and no amount of worry or overthinking will change it. Surrender is not weakness. Surrender is wisdom. It is the realization that the weight you are carrying was never meant to be carried alone. Think about the energy you have spent trying to manage every detail of your situation. The sleepless nights, the tension in your chest, the conversations you rehearse in your mind over and over. All of this takes a toll on your body, your mind, and your spirit. Worry drains you before the real battle even arrives. But there is a better way. Choosing to surrender your fears to God allows you to conserve your strength for the steps He actually calls you to take. Surrender is not passive. It is not sitting still, hoping for a miracle while doing nothing. It is active trust. It is telling God, I will do my part, but I will not carry what only you can carry. It is stepping into each day willing to take the next right step, even when you cannot see the entire path. That is where peace begins to grow, because you are no longer carrying the future on your back. You are walking with the one who holds the future in his hands. Ask yourself, how many times has fear led you to make quick decisions that you later regretted? How many times have you taken matters into your own hands because you were afraid to wait? Surrender invites patience. It teaches you that waiting is not wasted time when you are waiting with God. The waiting season is often where you develop the character needed for the blessing that is coming. This is not easy. Everything in you will resist at first, because surrender means giving up control of the outcome. But here is the reality. You never had full control in the first place. You could not control the actions of others. You could not control every financial shift, every diagnosis, every unexpected event that altered your plans. What you can control is your decision to trust, to release, to refuse, to let fear and frustration dictate your next move. Surrender is powerful because it shifts the burden. Imagine physically taking the weight off your shoulders and handing it to someone stronger, someone who knows exactly what to do with it. That is what happens when you pray with honesty and leave your concerns with God. You are not just talking to the air. You are placing your pain in the hands of the Creator, who has the power to turn it into purpose. This is not just theory. People throughout history have walked through fires greater than ours and found that surrender was the key to survival. Kings who were brought low and restored, prophets who stood against entire nations and still stood firm, widows and warriors who discovered that when they had nothing left, God's strength was enough to carry them through. You stand in the same tradition. Your act of surrender today could be the turning point of your entire journey. You do not need to know how every detail will work out. You just need to take the next step in faith. Release the fear, the bitterness, the desperate need to control everything. Let God show you that His plans are not only good, but better than anything you could design for yourself. This is where trust becomes real. When you stop fighting against the storm and start allowing the wind to push you in the direction God wants you to go, you will find a strange kind of freedom. The battle is no longer yours to fight alone, and that is where peace begins. Trust is not proven on calm waters. It is revealed when the storm is at its fiercest and you still choose to believe. The moments you feel weakest are the very moments when your faith is being trained to grow stronger. Strength does not come from avoiding hardship. It comes from facing it head-on and deciding that it will not define you. Every challenge is an opportunity to develop spiritual endurance. Just like a muscle grows by being placed under resistance, your faith grows when it is stretched. The resistance you feel right now is not meant to break you, but to build you. This is why some of the most powerful testimonies come from people who have walked through pain and emerged with a deeper trust in God. They learned that even in the valley, they were never alone. This is where you discover the difference between shallow faith and unshakable faith. Shallow faith believes when things are easy. Unshakable faith keeps believing even when everything seems to say the opposite. It does not collapse under pressure. It stands firm because it is rooted in the conviction that God is still good, still present, and still faithful, no matter what the circumstances look like. Perhaps you have been waiting for things to change before you believe again. You have told yourself that when the situation improves, when the pain goes away, when the problem is resolved, then you will trust again. But faith does not wait for the breakthrough to appear. Faith trusts in the middle of the battle. It trusts when the outcome is still uncertain. It trusts because it knows that the one who promised is faithful. When you stand in faith, something powerful happens inside you. You stop being controlled by fear and start being guided by hope. Your decisions become clearer, your emotions become calmer. You begin to see beyond the immediate pain and glimpse the possibility of a future filled with restoration. This internal shift does not come from pretending the problem is gone. It comes from believing that the problem does not get the final word. This inner strength has a ripple effect on every part of your life. When your heart is at peace, you think more clearly. You treat others with more patience. You make better choices because they are not driven by desperation. And soon you notice that the very storm meant to crush you has become the place where you found your footing again. But there is something crucial to remember. Strength is not a feeling. Strength is a decision. You may not feel strong today. You may feel exhausted, anxious, even numb. But choosing to trust is an act of strength all by itself. It is a declaration that fear will not have the last say, that despair will not write the end of your story. Look at what you have already survived. The moments you thought would destroy you became stepping stones. The seasons that brought tears also taught lessons. This battle you are facing now is another step in the same direction, forward. You do not have to understand how everything will work out to take that step. You simply need to believe that the one walking with you knows where he is leading you. And once you take that first step, you will realize that courage grows as you move. The storm may still rage around you, but there is a calm rising within you that nothing can shake. Your faith is being strengthened right now. This is not the end. This is preparation. The pain you feel is not pointless. It is shaping you for what comes next, and what comes next will reveal just how much stronger you have become. Pain has a way of making you believe that nothing good can come from what you are facing. It blinds you to possibilities, convincing you that this season is wasted time. But what if the very thing you are walking through is the soil where something new is being planted? What if the tears you have cried are watering the ground for a future harvest? This is the mystery of faith. What feels like an ending can actually be the beginning of something far greater. Trusting God means allowing Him to take the broken pieces of your life and rearrange them into something meaningful. Think of the stories that inspire you most. They are rarely about people who had perfect lives. They are about those who endured loss, rejection, or failure and discovered strength they never knew they had. Their pain became a turning point, and their turning point became a testimony that encouraged others. Your life carries the same potential. The struggle you are facing now could become the very thing that equips you to help someone else later. The heartbreak that feels unbearable could become the reason you understand the pain of others so deeply. Nothing is wasted when it is surrendered into the hands of God. Every moment of suffering can be transformed into a tool for compassion, wisdom, and courage. This perspective does not come overnight. It comes when you start asking different questions. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you start asking, "What can I learn from this? How can this shape me into someone stronger? What part of me is God refining through this fire?" These questions shift your focus from victimhood to growth. You begin to see pain not as punishment but as preparation. Preparation for what? For the next chapter of your life, the one you cannot see yet. If you could fast forward a few years, you might look back on this moment and realize that it shaped your character in ways comfort never could. It taught you endurance. It taught you empathy. It taught you to depend on God instead of your own strength. When you embrace this process, the pain loses some of its power to crush you. You start to rise above it, even while you are still walking through it. You discover that you are stronger than you thought, that your spirit is more resilient than you imagined. The storm does not get to define you. It becomes the place where you learned who you really are. There is a choice in front of you right now. You can allow the pain to harden you, to make you bitter, to steal your joy, or you can let it shape you into someone wiser, more compassionate, more grounded in faith. Choosing the second path does not happen automatically. It is a daily decision. Every morning you wake up and say, "I will not let this break me. I will let this build me." And as you make that choice day after day, you start to notice small changes. Your perspective shifts. Gratitude creeps back into your heart. You see beauty in small moments. strength in quiet victories, and hope even in dark nights. This is the power of turning pain into purpose. Soon, the thing that once felt like a curse can become the very story that inspires others to keep going. Your testimony will carry weight because it is not theory. It is lived experience. Someone out there needs to know that survival is possible, that faith still works, that trust in God can carry them through. And your life will be the proof they need. Peace is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of calm in the middle of them. Many people wait for the storm to pass before they allow themselves to feel peace. But that is not how real peace works. Real peace shows up while the storm is still raging. It is the stillness in your soul when everything outside you is in motion. This peace does not come from ignoring reality. It comes from trusting that reality is held in the hands of someone who is bigger than what you see. One of the greatest gifts God offers is this unexplainable peace. It is not tied to circumstances or dependent on perfect timing. It comes when you intentionally shift your focus from what you fear to the one who has power over every fear. When you spend time in prayer, meditating on His promises, speaking words of faith out loud, your inner world begins to align with His truth. Anxiety loses its grip. Thoughts that once spiraled out of control start to quiet down. This peace must be cultivated. It is not something that simply appears. It is something you make space for. Imagine a garden. If you leave the soil unattended, weeds grow. The same happens with your mind and heart. Worry is like a weed. It spreads fast and chokes out anything good if left unchecked. Peace is the intentional planting of truth. Every time you choose faith over fear, every time you speak God's promises instead of repeating your doubts, you are planting seeds of peace. Consider how you begin and end your day. The first thoughts you have in the morning set the tone for everything that follows. If you start with panic, scrolling through problems, or rushing into the day with stress, your heart stays on edge. But if you start with a moment of stillness, a prayer of surrender, or a declaration of trust, you invite peace to guide your steps. The same is true at night. Instead of letting the last thing you see be fear-filled headlines or endless distractions, allow yourself to end the day with gratitude and prayer. This simple habit can change your emotional state and even the quality of your sleep. Peace also grows through perspective. When you step back and see the bigger picture, you realize that this moment, as painful as it feels, is not the whole story. You are living through a chapter, not the entire book. Perspective helps you remember that the author of your life is still writing, and his story always leads toward redemption. Another way to protect peace is by guarding what you allow into your mind. Fear multiplies when you surround yourself with voices of despair. Hope grows when you surround yourself with voices of faith. The people you listen to, the content you consume, and even the thoughts you repeat to yourself all shape your internal environment. Choose carefully what you allow to take root in your heart. Peace is powerful because it becomes your anchor. It allows you to face situations with clarity instead of confusion. It allows you to respond instead of merely reacting. And it makes you a source of calm for others, which can transform not just your own life, but the atmosphere around you. This kind of peace is available to you right now, even before your situation changes. You do not have to wait until everything is fixed. You can begin to experience it today, right where you are. Trust that the same God who calms storms in nature can calm the storm within you. When peace rules your heart, fear no longer controls your decisions, and you can face the future with quiet confidence. When peace begins to settle in your heart, something powerful happens. You feel stronger, not because the circumstances have suddenly changed, but because your perspective has. What once felt impossible now seems manageable. The same problems that overwhelmed you no longer carry the same weight. This is the evidence that God's presence is working within you. Strength rises not from yourself, but from the one who sustains you. Walking in renewed strength means making choices that reflect your trust in God. Instead of reacting from fear, you begin responding with faith. You stop letting emotions dictate every move and start letting wisdom guide you. This change is subtle at first, but soon you notice that you are no longer as easily shaken. Challenges still come, but they no longer control your entire state of mind. This new strength gives you courage to act where you once froze. Fear keeps you stuck. Trust sets you in motion. You begin to take steps forward, steps that once felt too risky or too overwhelming. These steps are not reckless. They are intentional, guided by prayer and clarity. You sense when to speak and when to stay silent, when to move and when to wait. Your decisions start to carry peace instead of panic. Walking in renewed strength also transforms how you see yourself. Fear has a way of convincing you that you are small, weak, and incapable. But when you trust God, you start to see yourself through His eyes. You remember that you are created with purpose, equipped for this moment, and stronger than the storm trying to break you. This renewed identity fuels your confidence. As your strength grows, so does your ability to lift others. The encouragement you receive does not stay with you. It overflows. You become someone who brings hope to people still trapped in fear. Your words carry weight because they are not empty. They come from someone who has walked through the fire and found God faithful. This is how your pain becomes a platform. Your story becomes a light for others who are searching for a way forward. Renewed strength also helps you persevere. There will still be days when doubt whispers, when fear knocks on the door, when exhaustion tries to drag you back. But now you have tools. You know where to turn. You remind yourself of what God has already brought you through, and you let those victories fuel your faith for the next battle. You start building habits that reinforce this strength. You fill your mind with truth daily, whether through prayer, scripture, or moments of quiet reflection. You surround yourself with people who encourage your faith instead of feeding your fear. You learn to quickly let go of negativity before it takes root. And each time you choose trust over fear, your spiritual muscle grows stronger. Walking in renewed strength is not about never feeling afraid again. It is about refusing to let fear make your decisions. It is about standing firm even when the wind blows hard. It is about believing that the same God who brought you this far will not leave you halfway. Right now, you may be closer to your breakthrough than you think. Every step of trust has been moving you toward it. The strength you are building today is preparing you for tomorrow's opportunities. You will look back on this season and see that it was not wasted. It was the training ground where you became who you were meant to be. Everything you have walked through, every tear you have shed, every moment you felt like giving up, has been leading you to this point. A place where trust becomes more than words. This is where you decide how you will walk forward. Will you keep carrying the weight of fear, or will you step into a future built on faith? This is your moment to choose. The storms of life do not define you. They refine you. What was meant to break you has been shaping you into someone who is no longer controlled by fear. You are stronger now, wiser now, and ready to face the future with a new mindset. The pain you endured has been transformed into resilience, and resilience is what will carry you into the next chapter. This is where courage rises. The courage to dream again after disappointment, the courage to try again after failure, the courage to believe that good things are still possible for your life. Faith is not pretending that trouble will never come again. It is the bold decision to believe that whatever comes next, you will not face it alone. God's promises over your life are still true. He has not changed His mind about you. Every plan He spoke over you is still in motion. Even if the path took detours, even if mistakes were made, even if years were lost, His ability to redeem time is greater than anything you have lost. He specializes in bringing beauty out of ashes, life out of what looked dead, and hope out of hopelessness. Today, you can take the first step into that future of faith. It might look like praying with honesty, telling God you are ready to release what you have been holding on to. It might look like forgiving someone who hurt you or forgiving yourself. It might look like making a bold decision you have been afraid to make, trusting that He will guide you as you move. Faith always requires movement. It is not just an idea, it is action. The action may be small, like choosing gratitude before bed, speaking a promise out loud when fear comes, or writing down what you believe God is calling you to do next. Each step builds momentum, and soon you will notice that fear's voice grows quieter while faith's voice grows louder. This moment can be the start of a new story. Imagine looking back months from now and realizing that this was the day everything shifted. Not because all your problems vanished, but because you decided to stop letting them control your life. This is the power of trust. It breaks the cycle of fear and opens the door for peace to lead the way. Let your heart rest, knowing that you are not walking forward alone. The same God who walked with you through the valley will walk with you on the mountaintop. His presence is your guarantee that no matter what lies ahead, you have the strength, wisdom, and courage to face it. Take this moment to breathe deeply and let go of what has been weighing you down. Speak it out. I trust you. Allow that trust to take root in your heart, to guide your decisions, to shape your days. Let it remind you every morning that you are being carried by grace. This is not the end. This is the beginning of a life anchored in faith, a life where fear no longer dictates your path. Everything may not be perfect, but everything will be fine because you are no longer facing it in your own strength. You are stepping into the future with God as your guide, and that changes everything.